The upcoming expositions surrounding hags have been written as if the players in this fictional campaign are reflecting upon their past events. These reflections are brought on by the surroundings of the players on their final approach to their ultimate foray into extraordinary danger. We at Encounter This would like to express a content and trigger warning for these expositions. They may contain dark themes and imagery, including, but not limited to, outdated cultural opinions, adult content, sexuality, child abuse, gore, and violence that may be uncomfortable for some audience members. Listener discretion is advised.
I, Sir Dudley Ambrosius, do confess my greatest sin. This darkly hallow, I reflect upon the decisions I've made, the choices that most bereave me. It is I who must take more than partial responsibility for the events that have transpired. And it is I alone whose responsibility it is to carry out the mending of such tragedies. To the world and my fellowship, I now make known the burden I hold dearly, nimbly, and above all, aloft with delicate humility.
Marching in tight formation, you all halt as Sir Dudley does. You turn your eyes to him as he speaks these words into the air around you, unprompted. Some of you face him directly, some with a sidelong look. You all say nothing. Your tongues are all caught in your collective throats, your breath as well, as if the black smoke had appeared yet again. Only this time, no smoke. You have in fact feared this moment, whether you knew it beforehand or not. This old paladin is surely disgraced. That has always been known. The exact details, however, especially those that would bring such a noble breed to fall, have eluded you thus far. Here and now, on this torrid terrain, in this treacherous territory, he begins to reveal his own tattering tribulation. He heaves a great sigh and begins to doff his heavy, roughshod armor.
Damn it!
Okay, now? Okay.
I am your kin, let alone a son, were he still among the mortal living. A dark deal with a wicked witch. The blood of children wets every crevice of these hands, fraught to be coated further with that of demon fey. I, Sir Dudley Ambrosius, forsook my paladinic oath to save an old and frail man bravely bound by a duty I was too proud and weak to uphold myself. And an evil pact was struck. The waters upon which the Wave Guardian tread were to be calmed by the sea wenches, and I was to serve as a so-called traveling companion. Of course, that old cretinous green-skinned hextress was not to be trusted, and I was foolhardy enough to believe my own charisma would match her evil-drenched lies.
Images you thought your imaginations could never conjure up now whirl around your minds. You can't help but picture the sickly events your companion describes, every detail reflecting the horrors that preceded where you now stand. Imaginings now no longer reliant on actual imagination. Every characteristic of your mind's own depictions punctuated by the growing aggression and ravenous rage building in Sir Dudley's voice.
For decades she rode atop me as her swine-plagued mount. I could not resist her bidding, my own free will freely given up. I watched as the troubled waters that were to be stripped from my father's path ripple forward with ship-wrenching wave after sail-tearing squall. What's more, in my powerless vigil, I stood by and witnessed holy relics defaced by monsters. Innocents dragged into the depths of their coven lair. Children devoured and then rebirthed before my arid, uncrying eyes. All while my own youth passed me by within my hideous form. Wasted. So many victims. I, Sir Dudley Ambrosius, am victim. I am villain. My death for remission, but not until the grandmother's life is taken as payment for so many unlawful deaths, for wretched rearing of demon spawn, for ugly desecration of nature and innocence.
As the final piece of his armor hits the ground, Sir Dudley loses his presence of mind. He channels divinity and casts dreadful aspect on everyone around him. Roll wisdom saving throws.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them.
We'd like to throw out a big thank you to two of our close friends, Ali Ingram and Pascal Belzile. I never know how to say his goddamn last name.
God,
He's
I hope that's
French.
right.
He's French. Big thanks to them for lending their voice and creativity to the expositions that I had written. Super happy, was super pumped to work with them. We banged it up pretty quick, and it was wicked.
Yeah, we think they did an amazing job.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, totally amateur, like this whole podcast, and it's super fun to do and put together. Also, a big thanks to Strange Fellows Brewing. Strange Fellows. Supplying a few beers for us to cover Haguary. Always appreciated. It's a good little motivator.
Yeah, that was super
Blackmail Stout.
cool. Yeah. To change things up, we're just going to plug our Patreon up front real quick. You can join us at Encounter This Pod on Patreon, where we have a couple of tiers available. The first is a $1 tier where you just let us know that you like the show. Then we have a $5 tier where you get a handwritten thank you letter from me. I'm James. In case you can't tell by the voices yet, you're gonna
if you sign up for $5 tier twice, you can get a left-handed written one from me.
Yeah,
and then try and translate it.
It'll be about as good. As well as access to a private Discord channel. And then we have our $10 tier where you can actually suggest a creature that we cover, and then you'll get your name plugged in the episode, as well as the handwritten thank you letter and access to the private Discord. And if you subscribe at any level, you'll have access to our show notes. So you can see kind of how we organize our thoughts for preparing for each one of these episodes. And
they're slowly getting more and more organized.
Organized in air quotes, I think. But it would mean a lot to us, and maybe you'll even get a shout out on the show if you're our first Patreon. That's not me, so thank you.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed Night Hags.
Good day, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This, the final episode in Haguary. I am your co-host, Freeman, adopted the darkness Easton.
And with him, as always, is his trusty sidekick, James, born in the darkness, Kid.
And we will be discussing Night Hags, real-world lore of hags, mechanics, and doing a bit of a rehash and relook at all of the hags, covering various topics. But starting off, we will cover Night Hag lore and mechanics. A lot of this information, again, is being pulled from the Monster Manual, pages 176 through 179, and Volo's Guide to Monsters, pages 52 through 62, and 159 and 160.
Big thank you to Volo for putting this all together for us.
Real champ, that guy.
So, tell me about Night Hag lore, Freeman.
So, Night Hag lore, I'm going to read this directly from the Monster Manual. Sly and subversive, Night Hags want to see the virtuous turn to villainy, love turned into obsession, kindness turned to hate, devotion to disregard,
and generosity to selfishness. Night hags take perverse joy in corrupting mortals. And just to be clear, that's selfishness, not shellfishness, like I said.
Canadiana coming through once again.
I decided to read that verbatim because it is exactly the words needed to describe what we've been saying about hags this whole time. They want all of them want these things. Some of them want them in various degrees in certain environments and affecting certain creatures maybe, but this I think perfectly describes all hags and what their sort of loose goal is when it comes to corruption.
Yeah, it really does seem to nicely sum up everything we've been trying to sum up at the end of every hag episode we've done so far.
It is the perfect description, in my opinion. The most standout feature of a night hag is that it used to be a fae creature. It used to be from the Feywild. But their foulness, as it's quoted, saw them exiled out of the Feywild and into Hades a long time ago. Eventually, they degenerated into fiends and spread across the lower planes. They have dark blue or purple-black skin, light-colored eyes, and thin, curving horns on their head. And they are stout in their build, unlike the usual emaciated nature. They are only medium in size and not large and bulky like the Annis. So we have 3 hags that are, that emaciated, thin, and grotesque look. We have the Annis hag who's large and bulky, and this one is a little bit more stout in her build. Now, they are soulmongers. While a human creature sleeps, they can ethereally straddle them and intrude upon their dreams. They fill the victim's head with doubts and fears in hopes of tricking them into performing evil acts when they wake up. A night hag continuously visits said humanoid over and over until it eventually expires in its sleep. If she successfully drives her victim to commit evil deeds, she can trap its soul in a soul bag upon its death and transport it to Hades.
It's like the worst kind of handy haversack.
Definitely. A creature with true sight can spot the ethereal hag straddling her victim. True sight we discussed in our bonus episode, but I'll run through it real quick.
May not be out yet.
Fair enough.
I don't know when that's going to launch.
Yeah, but I'll go through true sight real quick. A monster with true sight can, out to a specific range, see in normal and magical darkness, see invisible creatures and objects, automatically detect visual illusions and succeed on saving throws against them, and perceive the original form of a shape changer or a creature that is transformed by magic. Furthermore, the monster can see into the ethereal plane within the same range.
So can you talk about Hades at all? Where is that in the planar alignment?
Again, you know more about that than I do.
I don't actually know.
I think Hades is just it's in the lower planes. I know that.
Let me
is it one of the 9 hells?
No,
it's not.
No, I got a planar map on my drive. Let me see. Let me pull that up. So Hades is a true neutral evil plane. It consists of 3 layers: Onius, Niflheim, and Pluton. It is also described as the Grey Waste, and also called the Glooms, where the realm is devoid of emotion, hope, and peace. Grey land, grey sky, no sun, no moon, no breaks to the monotone. So, yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Any creatures venturing here would feel the drain of emotions, leaving only sadness and defeatism.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
Yeah, this place sucks.
Yeah, I'd say.
I don't really want to dig any further because I think we could do a cool Patreon-only show at some point on the plains.
I'd love to. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Because we both clearly don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
But we want to, friends. We want to.
So want to. That's why we're doing this show, is to learn more and teach it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, mechanically, how is the Night Hag different from the other 4 hags that we've seen so far?
So mechanically, we're looking at a CR5 creature. Again,
so we're going down.
We're going down here. Yeah.
Okay.
We sort of went with Night Hag at the end, if I remember correctly, because it's the only one that's not a fae. And then I ended up...
Spoilers.
Oh, I already said it.
Oh.
They are fiend. They are neutral evil. Just like the Green Hag. They're the only... they're the only two hags that are not chaotic evil. They're the only one that... they're the only one that's a fiend. And I ended up writing the exposition with a Night Hag at the end in mind. Especially since we discussed things like grandmothers and lairs and that sort of thing, and how not every creature has to be the CR in this book, especially when it comes to hags. There's a lot of room to play with their power.
Yeah, we actually threw a poll up on Twitter a couple of months back while we were preparing to record this suite, trying to find out what people's favorite hag was, and the Night Hag won by a landslide.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, awesome.
Just an absolute mile.
That's wicked. It's Kismet then. That's awesome. Now, they have a CR5. They have 17 AC, natural armor again, so pretty much in the same wheelhouse as the average. They have 112 HP.
Is that the highest we've seen so far?
I think that is the highest. It's higher than the Night Hag, which was oddly lower than the Green Hag.
Yeah, and it's definitely higher than the Burr and the...
and the Sea, for sure.
The Sea, for sure,
so, definitely looking like a sturdy creature. They speak Abyssal, Common, Infernal, and Primordial.
Primordial. Okay, so there's their spin on the... Well, I guess Primordial is the first language.
Right, yeah.
It's cool that they all speak different elemental languages.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very nifty. And it seems fitting, again, to have the Night Hag at the end who's speaking Primordial, the root of all of those.
Yeah. And the Infernal and Abyssal are, of course, the languages of the Nine Hells and the Abyss, respectively.
Yeah, so it makes sense that they would have that. It's a bit strange they don't have Sylvan, although I guess not all of them had Sylvan.
No, it's just the Anisag.
And the Green.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sylvan, Orin, Aquan. None of them spoke Terran.
Or Ignan.
Or Ignan. Huh.
Yeah, we had Draconic thrown in there. A couple of them had Giant.
Yeah, I mean, that, whatever. Yeah. But yeah.
But I guess it's probably mostly based on where their environment usually is. Most of them are on the material plane, despite the fact that they are Fae. And the Night Hag would also probably be from the lower planes, but probably exists on the material plane most of the time, especially at least when you're encountering them.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, that being said, like usual, they have skills increased for their deception, insight, perception, and stealth. They have resistance to cold and fire, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical that aren't silvered, specifically. So they actually have a weakness to silver.
Weird.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious if it has anything to do with being a fiend in some respect, but I haven't dove into that creature category very much.
I haven't come across that in my travels either.
In any case, they are immune to being charmed. That's the first condition immunity. I think only condition immunity we've come across. And they do have dark vision up to 120 feet. They have innate spellcasting. Again, charisma is their modifier. They have a 16 charisma, and DC is 13. They, at will, can detect magic and launch magic missile. And twice per day, they can use plane shift on themselves only, ray of enfeeblement, and sleep. Now, sleep's pretty important because it ties straight into their ability to haunt someone's dreams.
Yeah.
Now, they also have magic resistance, which gives them advantage in saving throws versus spells and other magical effects.
I like that planar shift ability.
I don't know much about it, to be honest.
You essentially just shift into another plane.
Okay. I would imagine they do it to only themselves, and they probably, again, go to the ethereal plane to use their ability to...
Yes, one of the things I've learned about Night Hags is that they're particularly slippery creatures, and it's because of this planar shift ability, because they can just not be there anymore.
Right. That makes them quite the opponent, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's why I was a little confused when I saw the CR go down, is because of that ability in particular.
Mm-hmm. Now, for attacks, they have a claw attack, +6 to hit, 2d8 +4 slashing, and they also have the ability to change shape. Now, this acts as a self-polymorph, and they can turn into a smaller, medium female humanoid and back again. The stats remain the same when transformed. Equipment worn and carried is not transformed and reverts back to true form upon death. So pretty standard.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
They also have an etherealness ability. Magically enters the ethereal and material planes or vice versa. Must be carrying a heartstone to do this.
Yeah, and there's another escape technique right there.
Right, so it's outside of her twice per day. I
don't think the ethereal plane counts as a plane. When we're talking planar shift, we're talking like mortal to the abyss.
Oh, okay,
We're
sure.
talking like
Yeah.
proper
And that's
great
through the
wheel
spell.
cosmology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a pretty low level spell too, I think.
Yeah. They also have Nightmare Haunting. So this is the mechanical element of her invasion of dreams. Once per day, while on the ethereal plane, she can magically touch a sleeping person. As long as contact is consistent, the target has dreadful visions. If the visions last for 1 hour, the target gains no benefits from resting, and its HP max is reduced by 1d10. If the target's max HP is reduced to 0 via this effect, they die.
Crazy. And I lied. Plane Shift is a level 7 spell.
Level 7 spell. That's huge.
You and up to 8 willing creatures are transported to a different plane of existence.
This is a CR5 creature with a twice per day level, 7th level spell. That's balls.
Yeah, and they just fucking poof. They just Nightcrawler to a different plane of existence.
Wow. Anyway, this Nightmare Haunting, they reduce your maximum HP to 0, you die. If the target dies and was evil, its soul is trapped in the Night Hag's soul bag. The hit point maximum reduction lasts until it is removed via the Greater Restoration spell or similar magic.
That is deep too. That's not normally how those work either.
The spell's protection from good and evil and magic circle can prevent the contact of the Night Hag.
Oh, okay.
So those are a bit lower, and so it's a preventative measure. But what we're looking at is like powerful magic in a low CR creature.
Yeah.
Now these aren't really combat things. That's probably why the CR is so low. But this creature is affecting you outside of combat. That's the idea. It's either you or an NPC of some kind. Which is nice adventure hook. It's the hook I went with the exposition.
I can definitely see why people enjoy these the most so far. These are definitely the most robust that we've seen.
For sure. And then we'll get into, there's two items that have been mentioned so far, the Heartstone and the Soul Bag.
Yeah, so take me on a journey into the Heartstone.
The Heartstone is a lustrous black gem that allows the Night Hag to become ethereal. Touching the stone will cure any disease.
The fuck?
Crafting a Heartstone takes 30 days. So if it's in your possession of a PC, just touching it will cure a disease.
And that's not linked directly to the Night Hag?
Not at all. There was nothing in the books that I found that says even when the Night Hag dies that the magic is gone. It just specifies that and calls it a day.
So wow.
Yeah.
I want to know how to create a Heartstone.
Man, that's an adventure hook in and of itself. Acquire the Heartstone of Night Hag to cure your sickly father or something.
The plague going across the Barrens
100%,
lands.
Yeah. They also have the Soul Bag, a black sack made of stitched flesh.
Gross.
Can hold the soul of it.
And racist.
Can hold the soul of an evil humanoid killed by the Hag's Nightmare Haunting skill. The bag takes 7 days and a human sacrifice to craft, whose flesh is used to make it. Only one soul can be held at a time. These are the Night Hag's specialty items. If one were to become lost, the Night Hag will go to great lengths to retrieve them. And no other hag can take advantage of these items. Only they can craft them and use them. Similar to the Grey Staff and the Iron Toe.
Okay, so the PCs can't use a Heartstone.
Well, they do. It does specifically say, okay, they are Night Hag items. I put only in there myself. It doesn't say Night Hag only.
Gotcha.
I would imagine that it's the same case as the Grey Staff and the Iron Token, where no other hag can use them the same way a Night Hag can. But I think, at least as a DM
specifically
myself,
states that even the PCs can't use the Grey Staff.
Yeah.
So,
but this does not. It simply says straight from the book, the touch of a Heartstone also cures any disease.
See, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I like that item a lot. I like the idea of the PC stumbling upon this dead and decayed Night Hag, and they just find this fucking skin bag and
gross
Heartstone.
From there, we can take a look at the regional effects of a Night Hag's lair.
I'm approaching a Night Hag's lair like our fictional group of PCs. Tell me what I can expect.
Well, the shadows seem abnormally gaunt and sometimes move as if they were alive. Creatures will be randomly transported to harmless demiplane with shadowy forms, waxy corpses, and cackling. They remain here for a minute or two and then are transported back. Intelligent creatures see hallucinations of dead loved ones, including friends, family members, and even themselves. These hallucinations litter the area and dissipate upon contact.
So you're telling me that they saved all the good shit for the Night Hag?
It seems that way. I mean, again, it's not too much different from the others, where it really is just flavor material. But there's so much flavor here. They really
somebody
poured it into
really
this.
wrote the Night Hag, and then they just interned the other two, other four.
Outsourced,
I am
man, yeah.
so sorry to whoever wrote those. We're not sorry. We are sorry.
We're sorry. We're sorry. We apologize.
We're sorry. We don't mean to pick on you. It's just this one seems like it was really well done.
We're going to assume your hands were tied.
Yeah. We're going to blame Wizard and whatever coast he lives on.
Lair actions. One creature that can be seen within 120 feet must make a charisma saving throw, DC 15, or be banished to a demiplane prison. Escape is a charisma check contested by the Night Hag. On success, the creature escapes the demiplane. Otherwise, the effect ends on initiative count 20 on the next round. The hag targets up to 3 creatures within 60 feet as well, and each makes a constitution saving throw, DC 15, or is flung 30 feet through the air. If a creature hits a solid object, it takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage for every 10 feet fallen or moved.
So you're telling me they saved all the cool shit for the Night Hag?
They really did, man. They really, truly did. Both of those actions are awesome. Both of them are wicked.
Yeah, like why doesn't the Burr Hag have a lair action there where she can just freeze targets on a wall of ice? Like,
right. Yeah, and it lasts till initiative count 20.
yeah, Night Hag's like, no, fuck you in this plane. Like,
everyone go look at Night Hags and turn your other hags into a Night Hag.
yeah, just done deal.
Start stealing shit from this one. It's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's great. Banished to a demiplane, flung across the room.
Yeah, that doesn't blow my mind, but
it's
a real
situational. It's utility,
yeah,
but there's also
it's a
potential
real
damage
action.
to it.
Yeah.
If a creature hits a solid object, I would count another PC as a solid object. That's for sure. If the one in the front failed the con save, and the one in the back didn't, they're going to smash into each other.
Yeah, or throw them up at the roof. 30. Yeah. That's 3d6 day fall.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Crazy.
Pretty great, man.
So yeah, I guess we're going to move right into Hag lore IRL, as the kids say.
We've been saving this. We've been saving this.
Absolutely saving
this. Is episode 5 where we haven't touched on it at all. Not even a little bit.
There's probably a good reason that we're saving this. It is a treasure trove that I had to dig through. It was...
I think I would say that in general, I kind of always assumed in our previous episodes until now that I knew at least a little bit in the IRL world.
You do.
I do of this one. Yeah. I know
do.
One thing for sure that comes to mind is going to be a Hansel and Gretel reference. 100%. Obviously, maybe some Wizard of Oz or something like that.
Yeah.
But as under the name Hag itself, I feel like I know nothing.
Well, we'll get into that. Okay. But Hag actually comes from the German word Hexe, which is ultimately of unknown origin, but it means witch.
Okay, cool.
So
Hexe spelled
Hexe.
Cool. All right. Like a hex with an extra vowel on the end.
Yeah, they all come from the same word, Proto-German meaning witch, which seems to be a catch-all for ugly old women with malicious intent or desires.
Okay.
So hags come from folklore, obviously. They seem to be specific to Anglophonic folklore, the name hag.
Mm-hmm.
So the night hag, or the old hag, is where the word comes from. It is a supernatural creature that's been used to explain sleep paralysis over time. So every culture has a word for old hag or something to explain sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the old folktale is the old hag sits on the sleeper's chest and sends nightmares to them.
Oh, yeah.
When they awoke, they found that they wouldn't be able to breathe or move for a short period of time, which is also where the term hag-ridden comes from.
Right.
Or haggard.
Yeah. Great. Oh, haggard.
Yeah.
No way. Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, I did not expect that connection to the sleep paralysis at all, but that is really cool. But I have heard stories from people where they have that sleep paralysis and they were so sure that there was some sort of spirit or entity sitting on them, like pressuring their chest, stopping them from moving and breathing. Yeah.
So You can find this on Wikipedia, but almost every culture that you can think of has a myth or a legend for sleep paralysis. But the Scandinavian Anglophonic one is the Night Hag.
Okay.
So hags appear in many stories across all cultures, but again, most of them are Anglo-Saxon. Hags appear mainly in Anglo-Saxon folklore, and we'll touch on a few of them today. The Mara, the Peg Prowler, the Kaliak Barak, the Black Annis, and the, you actually nailed it, Elphaba Throp?
Oh, yeah, that one. That's the one I know.
You'll know when we get there.
What?
Yeah. I'll leave that mystery for you until the end.
Please do.
So the Night Hag is a variation of the Mara, which is the German Scandinavian Night Hag. Mm-hmm. So in Norse mythology, there's a Ynglinga saga from the 13th century.
Ynglinga?
Yeah, Ynglinga.
Yeah. Perfect.
Where King Vandlandi Svegogisen.
King. Oh wait, I'll look at your notes. King Vinlandi Svegoisen of Uppsala.
Yeah, of Uppsala. Lost his wife to a Mara, which is a spirit that was conjured by a Finnish sorceress, Hulda, and she was hired by the king's abandoned wife, Drifa.
Okay.
So.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not really following, but okay.
So this sorceress, Hulda, was hired by the king's abandoned wife. He abandoned his wife, Drifa, to go sit on his chest and kill him in his sleep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I'm getting it. Okay. That's how he died.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
In Poland, the Mara are connected to the demon of winter, and it could be the soul of a person who was wronged or someone who died without confession, or the seventh daughter who had their name mispronounced during a baptism.
Ooh, seventh daughter, you say?
Yeah, I thought that was very specific.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that right there, I'm immediately going to what we previously talked about. I can't remember the exact detail now, but it was the superstition that hags believed in, that the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter, kind of thing, was the perfect creature to corrupt or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it might be a deep cut reference there.
I think so.
Mispronounced during baptism. Oh, Jesus.
So specific.
Jesus, pun not intended. But that's, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine someone just can't say your name and you get doomed for it.
Yeah, so there are a couple of wording practices in Polish culture specifically, including drinking coffee grounds, sleeping with an item made of leather, or inviting the spirit out for breakfast.
Drinking coffee grounds, sleeping with leather, or inviting them to breakfast. Weird. Okay.
Yep.
So random, it feels like. Okay.
It really, those are just the highlights of that list.
Yeah.
There are much, much more out there.
All right.
And they're also found in Czech and Hungarian beliefs as well.
Okay.
But I have a prayer here from Franz Felix Albert Kuhn. It's a German prayer to ward off sleep paralysis or the night hag. Mm-hmm. And here I am lying down to sleep. No nightmare shall plague me until they have swum through all the waters that flow upon the earth and counted all the stars that appear in the firmament. Thus help me God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.
Okay.
I don't really understand that, so if somebody's got a religious background, feel free to shout it out, but it's very clearly some...
I mean, to me, it's, having grown up quite religious, it's just a really, really poetic hyperbole, until they have swum through all the waters that flow upon the earth and counted all the stars that appear in the firmament. It's impossible. It's sort of that strive for perfection. No nightmare shall plague me until they're capable of doing this first, which is impossible. Okay. So they will never do it. It reminds me of an analogy that someone once told me, that time to God is like an iron orb the size of the earth exists, and once every million years a dove flies by and scrapes its wing on the orb. And once that orb is depleted from the friction and the wearing down, then time stops, and that's how God perceives time. It's like impossible to fathom kind of idea. I very much remember that analogy.
Which God?
Yeah, good question. In this case, it would have been the Catholic God. But
If I remember my last crusade correctly, they're called Jehovah.
yeah, right, sure. But in any case, it's just stood out very starkly to me that it's just one of those very classic, make something impossible to achieve, and then I would be protected, or it's a goal of mine, or something along those lines.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Something, a way to really poetically explain what we can't explain.
That sounds like old-timey people.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
So the next is the Peg Prowler, who is very clearly the basis for a sea hag, like very, very clearly.
Okay.
So they're from English folklore, who inhabit the River Trees, which is a real river in Durham, Yorkshire, northern England. Mm-hmm. They're very similar to the Grindylow, which is found in Lancashire, and Jenny Greenteeth from Liverpool, and Nellie Longarms from Deep Ponds.
Okay.
I think Deep Ponds is near Lancashire, or near Leicester.
Okay.
It's pronounced Leicester, if I remember my football correctly.
Leicester, yes. Similar to the Grundy, okay.
Yeah, so all these creatures drag children in who get too close to the water's edge, and they lure people down to the river to be devoured. A guy called Elliot O'Donnell writes the Peg Prowler is a woman who lures men and boys down by pretending to be a beautiful woman with long green hair.
Okay.
So they're said to have like blue skin, greenish fingernails, like all that. I want to say haggard, but the decrepit, malformed appearance takes place in this. And
you say it happens to the River Trees.
Yeah.
It's a river. Okay, it's a river. Yeah, okay. I was thinking like Lady in the Lake almost for a second there, and some sort of pond, but it's a river inhabitant.
Yeah, they're all river denizens.
Water. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll have a link to Elliot O'Donnell's book, Ghosts, Helpful and Harmful, in the show notes.
Helpful and harmful?
Yeah, I kind of really want this book.
Yeah, I immediately want it as well.
Yeah. And then that brings us to the one that I'm going to keep pronouncing wrong. I pronounced it wrong in the Burhag, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong here, and that's the Kaliak Barach.
Yeah, I one of my good friends that I met in the last year or so when I was in Australia, Owen, he taught me a lot about the Irish, and he's fluent in the Irish language, and it's insane. Like you just can't pronounce it right. It's if you don't know it, you can't pronounce it. I guarantee that's just insanely wrong.
Yeah, probably
in the greatest and worst way at the same time. Yeah.
So it's a Gaelic, but that Gael oversees Irish, Scottish, and Manx in this particular context.
Sure.
That is a divine hag. It's a creator, weather, and ancestral deity.
Okay.
So they have a domain over all of those things.
Right.
In Scotland, she's known as Bira, Queen of the Winter, and is said to be the mother of all goddesses and gods. And Kaliach actually means old woman or hag. So hopefully somebody can send in a recording of them pronouncing that word properly.
Yeah. So we got old woman or hag is the first part of the name.
Yeah.
And the other part is referencing her being a goddess, or a mother of goddesses and gods. Yeah, that's interesting. It seems weird. It seems a bit strange that it governs. It's divine and it governs creation and ancestry. Weather with the Burhag makes sense. Yeah. I suppose they're very weather themed in 5e, but.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how those domains break down over the different areas of Gale, or if it's just all of them are these things. It seems that Bira is all of these things. There's the most information about her, but I don't want to dig too deep on the one of the 5 hags.
Yeah.
The next one is the Black Anise, which is... I found no real information to discern that this is the basis for the Anise hag, and this one took me the longest to find, actually. So when I read this to you, let me know if it strikes home with you, because you did all the research on the Anise hags. So I'm prepared to be corrected on this one. This is from the Black Anise is from the English folklore again, from the Dane Hills in Leicester. They are blue-faced hag with iron claws and a taste for flesh. They're said to live in a cave with a great oak tree as the entrance, and lures unsuspecting children in to eat them and tan their skin for leather.
It's bang on.
Yeah, okay, good.
That's bang on. I mean, the iron claws, 100%. Blue face, like I believe they were specifically described as black or dark skinned or like bruised.
Bruised,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe that was even the Night Hag, but they all definitely the Night Hag and the Anise Hag have very similar sort of hues to their skin. In that the bluey, purpley, bruised kind of color. Taste for flesh, 100%. Like the reference to children, like that was their of the 5 hags. The Anise Hag's main shtick was like they would lure anyone in, but they preferred children and they preferred the flesh of children, and they specifically preferred their supple skin to make supple leather.
Yeah,
it's I remember putting emphasis on that, and it's very much in the exposition that I wrote as well. So that's a pretty hard rip and carbon copy.
Yeah, so the Black Anise actually isn't registered under witch or crone or hag on Wikipedia at all.
Oh, no.
Most of this information came from a third-party website, but then eventually I did go back and find it on some of it on Wikipedia. Mostly I just use Wikipedia for their references. They've got a really good referencing system.
Sure.
So this was first published in Black Annie's Bower Close Country Folklore in 1895 by what is just called the Folklore Society.
Okay.
So there was no real credits or reference to that.
Yeah.
So this is
Black Annie's Bower Close Country Folklore. What's a Bower Close?
No idea.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, so I obviously I couldn't find any real references to the Anise Hag. The Burr Hag will link to Donald A. Mackenzie's Myths of Crete and Pre-Hellenistic Europe. But for the Anise Hag, I haven't been able to find anything. I'm sure we could find something in another one that we'll have linked, which is Catherine Briggs, an encyclopedia of fairies, hobgoblins, brownies, bogies, and other supernatural creatures.
Nice.
I'm not sure we're going to be able to find this one for an affiliate link, but I'm going to track down a copy of this so we can have it in the office because it sounds amazing. This has been linked in a lot of the research we've done, so I think Catherine Brigg might be the authority on the subject.
Sweet.
And then we're going to go into the Green Hag. So
Is there a particular reason you save a Green Hag for last?
Yeah, because like the Anise Hag, this one gave me no little trouble.
Okay.
So the Green Hag doesn't exist. This is not a thing they pulled from culture.
Okay.
So I looked at the Green Hag is very clearly based off a witch. So I thought about doing Hansel and Gretel, but it seemed kind of basic. So what I pulled from was the first written rendition of a Green Hag that I could find, and that was from L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz in 1900. So the Green Hags either come from Hansel and Gretel, from the Grimm Brothers collected fairy tales and other before that, or it's Elphaba Throp, which is the name of the Wicked Witch of the West. And a more detailed account is, of course, presented in Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire.
1995.
Circa 1995. We will actually have links to both those books. I'm sure most of our listeners have read or seen or done something with Wicked. Before this, I did not know it was related to the Wizard of Oz at all.
I mean, when I think of a green witch, the first thing that comes to mind is the Wicked Witch of the West. 100%.
Yeah, and since
then I just also just think classic witch. But then, once we were researching all this, I genuinely started to think about what the old woman from Hansel and Gretel would have looked like. I always just assumed she was, probably not pretty or probably that haggard, a traditional ugly look, if you will, but very human looking.
For sure.
To bring the kids in.
And there were a lot of depictions of them with bulbous noses and warts, but that was about the only distinction.
Yeah, but no green skin.
No green skin.
Yeah.
Some scraggly hair in some depictions. There were some ancient ones. We'll also link to a recent episode of Myths and Legends by Jason Weiser. I call that out on the show all the time, but he recently did an episode on Hansel and Gretel. Not super witchy, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's more of a precautionary tale. It takes place during a famine, and that's what it's about, is two parents who essentially try their best to abandon their children, so they've got two less mouths to feed.
Oh, yeah. Brutal.
So the witch lures them in, and then it's really about Gretel's suffering compared to Hansel. It really seems to be the theme.
Sure.
So that's the reason I didn't go that way, but Hansel and Gretel, of course, are at the top of our honorable mentions, as is the Baba Yaga from Russian folklore. The Black Lady of Bradley Woods, a buhag, also from Gula culture, which I believe is African North American.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one was real challenging for me to understand. And Lilith of the Talmud, specifically the Babylonian Talmud,
Okay.
which is the central text of Rabbinic Judaism and the source of their religious law. I spent like 3 hours just researching the Talmud
Oh, yeah, no shit.
when I went down this rabbit hole.
The old Wikipedia hole?
Yeah.
Yeah, love that shit.
So I would actually love to call out to our listeners, if you've got any ideas of representations of hags in pop culture or regular culture, please tweet at us at EncounterPod on Twitter. I want to know. I want to see what you guys come up with.
And on that note, we're coming to the final close of the Hag Suite. That's the SUITE suite. Brought to you by, proudly, Strange Fellows Brewing and their beautiful, dark, sessionable, smooth Blackmail Northwest Milk Stout.
Yeah, we can't thank Strange Fellows enough. We're going to keep plugging them even when they don't actually sponsor the shows.
Look, I'm going to keep hounding the rep for a few more 4-packs here and there, but it will remain the thematic beer of Encounter This, I would imagine.
They've been absolutely fantastic. And while we're shouting people out, I do want to shout out Jesse Boros of the DMs of Vancouver. He is our first fan to throw in with a story about hags.
Amazing. Sweet. Okay, so we're about to approach the final part of this suite, and it is homebrew, and it is talking about differences and similarities in the lore and the mechanics, and just all of that. We've been just like the real life lore. We've been saving that to the end, but right in there is experiences, and yeah, this is that's awesome. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
What has he got?
So what Freeman really means is it's about to go off the rails here.
It's going to be a real casual conversation here. This is very, very much less scripted. Yeah.
So Jesse is a dungeon master as well, and he is a PC called Cadia, who built into their backstory that green hag that happened to be a member of a coven. Cadia killed, mostly through luck, and the event instilled hatred for Fae that radiated out of Cadia at all times. So I'm not sure what her class or her race was. So at one point, the PCs encountered an Oni, and it ended up murdering one of the party, actually. So the rest of the party decided to take that fallen PC to their final resting place, wherein Cadia decided to pursue the Oni. And after months of tracking it on her own, she rejoined the party and led them on a quest to kill it. By then, the Oni had taken notice of Cadia and the party, and had actually formed an alliance with the rest of the hags in the coven, and they brought back the dead green hag as a ghoul.
Wow.
Yeah, so their encounter before the coven was a ghoul and an Oni. A ghoul green hag and an Oni.
Wow. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole after that, just talking about like how fucking awesome this game is.
Right.
Homebrew a ghoul
The
hag.
shit you can do. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's just like reminds me of I've told you before, and I'm sure I've said it on the podcast here, the homebrew druid vampire that I did.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
outrageous. It was against every rule in the book, it seemed, but it turned out to be really fun.
Rule of cool, man.
Rule of cool. All right, so let's touch on what we sort of remember and reflect on differences and similarities in the lore.
I think the first rule of hags that we should just lay down at this point is don't. just don't. If they offer you something, don't take it. If a DM offers you a side quest, don't take it. Just don't interact. Just walk casually by. Ignore.
Just really flub your DM's preparation by being like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, just take the night off.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this. How do you imagine, let's go with sea hags to start. That's the first one we've covered. What do you imagine the circumstance in which sea hags would form a coven? What's your go-to idea on that?
So I like the idea of sea hags forming a coven to either keep something in or keep something out. So maybe in this case, they've created a Trinity seal over the place in the earth where it connects to the elemental plane of water to seal out the Leviathan. Maybe they want to raise a Kraken to bring more ships down in a certain harbor or something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I go for it. What about yourself?
My gut instinct went to the Kraken as well, for sure. Thinking about all of the things that that hags want to do, it is constant destruction and manipulation, right? And they seem to have, no matter their CR, no matter the position, they are apparently trying to have some sort of master plan at any given time. Now, when it comes to a coven, we have to remember that they get together against their own instincts so that they can achieve some sort of common goal. So I love the idea that they would, find a way to bring the Kraken to sort of like, really create a dangerous scene across, the high seas and across the major trade routes. But what do they gain out of that? What is their end goal? Why have they brought themselves together is the real question. So I don't have an answer to. I don't have an immediate instinctual answer to. Like, why would they form a coven to do this? What is it they hope to gain?
Well, I think
besides just destruction, because one hag alone already wants that. They don't really need another one to like.
Well, maybe it's a beautiful city on the seashore that they want to destroy, like a gilded ancient city, or I don't know. Maybe they just want to destroy everything.
Actually, that's really good. Actually, I love the idea of maybe because sea hags hate beauty so much more so than the others, that maybe you have this extremely extravagant trade route across the seas where it's so successful and there's so much money and privilege and all that flowing that every ship that crosses those waters, the longer it goes, the more immaculate and beautiful they are. And it's frustrating this group of sea hags or these individual sea hags,
like and the Panama Canal or the Dover Strait.
Yeah, they can't handle it anymore. They can't stand this coming back and forth. Maybe there's mermaids, these beautiful mermaids, and sort of coming along outside the ships, and they hate the idea of it so much. This success that's turned into beauty and culture and art, that they have to band together to really deal with the fact that they hate it. So what about green hags? Green hag coven. What makes you think they would form one?
Green hags are a little bit weirder for me. So I have actually run a green hag coven before, but it was a green hag coven missing a member, and their goal was to resurrect another member.
Oh, okay.
So I think based on what we've learned about green hags specifically, that they are the ones who truly love a bargain. They're the ones who really want to twist and bruise mortals, and not on like a grand scale, but on like a very, very micro scale. They want to take this one baron and just twist and turn him till he retches.
I would argue that the Night Hag is on a similar level with specificity of an individual, simply because of that whole invade their dreams and steal their soul kind of aspect. But I agree with you as well. The Green Hag is it is much more bargain and scheming than the other ones seem to be more specific in their
they feel a little more isolated.
Like in their actual tasks and how they go about it, like such as targeting children and making leather and that sort of thing, where the Green Hag is really about the manipulation and the bargain.
And it's really general. All the lore in the Green Hag, it can really be twisted and turned in every direction. It's actually a wonder that they weren't the first hag.
I imagine that a Green Hag coven, for me, would almost always be formed out of defense, and almost never formed out of a common goal or achievement. Simply because if we're correct, or we take that route, that they love that bargain and they're obsessed with it, and they always want that manipulation. They always want to find a way for someone to come to them and really have the high ground. I don't think they need another person for that. I think they wait. I think they lie in waiting for those opportunities, and they plan ahead, and they just wait for it happily. They don't need to go out of their way to find a challenge, and a challenge that's hard enough for them to that they need help. Instead, they lie in wait and let it come to them. But if something threatens them specifically, that's when they take action and bring another hag into the situation. That's how I imagine the Green Hag.
Yeah. Okay. If you're going to take the defensive position, I'll take the offensive position. I think
How dare you? Who do you think you are?
strategist. The only man in the room who's read the
a good defense is a great offense.
I think I'm the only man in the room who's read The Art of War.
You're also a hockey fan.
That is very, very correct. Very correct.
How about that local sports team anyway?
Go Sharks.
Jeez.
Controversial opinion of the podcast.
More controversial the fact that I don't like sports at all?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, sure.
I'm from Toronto. I live in Vancouver, and I root for a team in California. Anyway, so I think Green Hags could also take up a coven for an offensive position, but I think that would be a veiled offensive position. Maybe they're trying to manipulate somebody who has got way more power than they do, like the Lady of the Fey Courts, or a dragon, or one of the ancient drow priestesses or something like that. And they want to manipulate information out of them, and they need the magic of all three of them.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I like that. I definitely wouldn't explore it myself.
Yeah, I think I would, but again, like you said, it would have to be out of desperation. That seems to be the key,
Sure, okay, yeah,
the key
yeah.
pinnacle.
Yeah.
So like a dragon's moved into their forest and is eating all their children food.
Not the children food.
Okay, so let me put it to you like this. A green dragon moves into a forest and starts eating a bunch of horses.
Oh, God.
The
Okay.
local centaur group gets real mad and then bargains with a green hag, who then bargains with another 2 green hags to form a coven to kick out this realistically probably young dragon.
Right. But she would have to do that in such a way that she convinces the other green hags to be like, these centaurs have something that we can all use, but I
Yeah,
need your help.
exactly.
I don't want them to know I need your help. They think I can do it on my own, but...
And they need to think
what
I
would
can
the
do it on my
centaurs have? What do you think the centaurs would have for them?
Centaurs are also fey creatures, so they've lived for a long time.
sure,
so maybe
yeah.
it's a map of the woods, or maybe it's where the Feywild touches in that forest.
Okay,
the easiest
yeah,
point of access.
Sure.
Maybe it's where the satyrs live. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
satyrs look like children.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like that. Actually, I really like that. But they're put on the offensive through the bargain.
Yeah,
Through the bargain.
yeah. I think that would be the only way to do it. Otherwise, it becomes a defensive game. Otherwise, they're protecting their forest from the dragon.
Yeah, that's lovely. What about the Annis hag? This big, hulking, crushing hug hag. Why do you think they would form a coven? I think this is a weird one.
Yeah.
myself.
So out of all 5 of the hags, this is the only one I can't ever see myself choosing to run. Mm-hmm. I would really have to be pushed in the right direction for this to come into play, because it just doesn't fit in my world nice and easily.
See, I would use the Annis hag, but I feel like I would have a difficult time employing it in that very deep narrative way. I would probably mistakenly employ it like it was just some big ogre creature. That's on a mechanical level. That's how they function.
Yeah.
They are just beasts. They have a bit of innate spellcasting, if I remember correctly, but they are just, physically dominating.
Yeah,
And-
they're the tanks.
yeah, and then they come with ogres or trolls or skeletons or something like that. They come with these big beasts, and I think I would have a hard time adding them into a deep narrative without other hex, with other types of hex in the exposition that I wrote. Like they're very much there, and I really enjoyed writing them in, and they're probably my favorite hag, to be honest. I really, really love them, but they to me didn't work without the grand scheme, with other hags involved.
I definitely have a hard time with 3 Annis hags. I think with other hags involved, I would reverse the script and reverse the kind of narrative that you did, and they would be the first one that they encounter.
Sure,
It's the Annis hags who are luring the children's in and making
Right.
leather, and then from there you find out there's a different, smarter hag pulling the strings. Because I don't know for a fact, but I don't see these being particularly intelligent of the creatures, and that's why they're big and brutish.
Now, I think now is the perfect time to say it, is that not every coven has to be 3 of the same hag. There's absolutely no rule around that.
Yeah,
absolutely zero.
That
right?
feels like the pretense to
Yeah.
how we establish this little game we're playing.
Definitely.
So
But I guess maybe the best way would be to think about the Annis hag as one just one of any three, and her imposing physical nature would be an advantage to a degree to whatever coven she enters.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's why I would play her as the tank. She's the first one that you encounter.
Yeah.
And then you find a real smart green hag pulling the strings, and then you run into a night hag or something like that. And the night hag is, the last arrow in the quiver, because it becomes, oh, you killed the Annis hag, I don't really care. You killed the green hag, I don't really care, but now I'm targeting you specifically.
Right. Yeah.
So, but to get a coven of Annis hags, I don't know, man.
Yeah, putting three of them together would be real. It's real hard to wrap my head around. The only thing I could think of would be if they had some sort of goal to enforce and support an uprising of larger creatures like trolls and giants. And that sort of thing.
Or maybe to bring down like a specific regal family. Mm-hmm. Like really just destroy this one family who's got 3 daughters or 3 sons.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
We are going to end your reign. Mm-hmm. But
or even just a series, like a much wider family where they have aunts and uncles and cousins, and there's loads of children involved, and they sort of, as a coven, pull strings from so many different directions that no one really realizes they're together and doing this at the same time via their iron tokens, unless like each one could have up to 3 going at any given time.
yeah, I guess they wouldn't have to be particularly local to be a coven. You could just 3 Annis hags pulling the strings over a country.
Mm-hmm. As brutal as they are physically, they have probably one of the cooler sort of mechanics when it comes to manipulation of those children with the iron token.
Yeah, I do love that iron token.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think it's super cool. Okay, Burhag.
So these are probably my favorite hags. Mm-hmm. I really like the gray staff. I like the idea of the creation of the gray staff. And I feel like a Burhag would probably only create a coven to protect her while she's spending that year in the day building another gray staff.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a great idea.
So that's how I would play it, because you'd kind of nerf one of the 3 in the encounter, and then you'd have the other 2 at full power. So you've got...
I also imagine, like, a Burhag is at a tremendous disadvantage without her gray staff, right? She's not the creature of her CR without it.
No, she loses like 2/3 of her magic.
Right. If she were to lose that gray staff, it makes sense she would form a coven around protecting herself to create it, like you said. But then once it's created, her next goal, I think, to me, would be very obviously making sure, if it's not already done, making sure that whoever destroyed her gray staff was punished. And whether that's using the same coven or a new one. I kind of like the idea that she would convince 2 other hags that her goal is something different while she's recreating a new gray staff. And then once it's created, she's done with them. They are simply her pawns and her, under her manipulation as far as she's concerned. And she finds another group or shifts maybe her narrative for them to help her along in her revenge.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's a great second act to that story.
What about a night hag then?
Night hags to me aren't... I don't treat night hags in my brain like I treat the other hags. Mm-hmm. I treat night hags as assassins.
Okay.
So I would form a coven of night hags underneath a demon lord, so under Baelor. Baelor wants these 3 high-powered people. He sends these 3 night hags to go kill them in their sleep. Mm-hmm. And it's because the 3 of them are in a coven that they become extra strong, and they're able to stand up to the CR of the players.
So you imagine Baelor has struck some sort of agreement with each individual one
to form a coven
to go kill become these assassins, and then they form a coven as a result.
Yeah, I think so.
I definitely would not have thought of that. I definitely would have thought. Now that being said, I kind of shoehorned myself in the exposition, specifically choosing Night Hag last as the sort of overarching entity of the story. Simply because we or I chose Night Hag to be last because it's the only one that's not a fey creature. Yeah. They are, in fact, fiends.
They're fiends, and that's why I tie them to Baelor or Orcus
or
something like that.
And there was something really fun about, making myself or forcing myself to be shoehorned in that way. And I had to find a way to make them the top. The way the exposition is written, and I'm sure you've heard it now, and I'm sure you would agree, you're editing it, that there's a lot left to interpretation. There's a lot of gaps that are meant to be filled by your imagination. And that ended up being the case with the Night Hag, where the overarching goal of those Night Hags, I don't know. I personally don't know what their goal is. I don't know why they did it. And I kind of like that. I kind of don't want to decide. I kind of want to hear if people have an idea. I actually would love if listeners, decided enjoyed it. I really hope they enjoy it, the series of it. I hope it's not too muddled and confusing, but I really hope they understand that there are those gaps to be filled with your imagination. And I really hope people will actually write in and respond and give ideas of what could have happened in between. That whole fan theory idea.
Yeah, take it
would be really fun,
it.
And I don't want to create an ending for that. I don't want to create the goal of this, these Night Hags at all. Because I'd love the just a discussion just like we're having right now.
Yeah.
I'd love the idea that we could just spitball it
Well, I think that's the whole point of this section of the show is us spitballing ideas, but more importantly, hoping some of the listeners just their brain gets on cocaine and starts firing on all 6 cylinders.
D&D cocaine.
Yeah. Your blood should be on fire with ideas at the end of the show. That's why we do the show.
One would hope so. Hope so. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the 5 hags. Let's do another rehash of them, but let's talk about mounts and vehicles and minions and pets. This was probably one of my favorite parts that we covered in the show.
I agree. It is for sure.
What do you imagine a sea hag uses as a mount, vehicle, minion, or pet?
So I think those are all the same thing.
Yeah,
and
potentially they're all synonymous. Yeah.
No, I mean in my scenario, they are all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And spoilers, I guess, for Ruins of Aslant.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I'm not that caught up on it, but go for it. Yeah.
It doesn't spoil anything, but it's an idea that was in the show that I love. So this is ripped right from the Ruins of Aslant adventure path, and it is a sea hag who has a megalodon who she rides.
Oh, no shit.
So it is her pet, it is her familiar, and it is her mount.
Cool.
So I would just do that, just giant shark straight out of the back of the PHP, and that is
amazing.
That is a sea hag's everything.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the idea that some of these quote unquote mounts or vehicles are not necessarily creatures or manipulated minions. I honestly love the idea of a green hag or someone just riding around on a tombstone. It's like the silliest. It's the perfect. It's the
that
perfect.
That is a Hanna-Barbera cartoon from the 60s.
It is. It's the perfect flavor for a one shot, though.
Yeah,
it is perfect. You want to do a Halloween one shot?
Yeah, she's got pink sunglasses on.
Make a party go through a coven of 3 different hags, all riding the most ridiculous shit.
Just rewrite Weekend at Bernie's, but instead of that, it's a green hag riding on a tombstone.
Just imagine for a second that you've got a sea hag underwater riding an rusty old anchor through the water. She's just beelining it like it's a jet ski. Like it's just like the dumbest thing ever. Or like an old rusted treasure chest or some shit.
No, I hear you, man. So I've watched every episode of Scooby-Doo Where Are You from the 60s? A bunch. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Good.
And everything we're talking about from this point on is probably just going to remind me of that somehow.
It's perfect. It is a lovely idea for just humorous play. Like, take a macabre, dark, really uncomfortable creature and make fun of it. And I love that. Make it for all the family. Oh shit.
Okay.
All right. So I mean, getting back on track a little bit, I guess sea hags, minions and stuff. You mentioned it before, I think, with like an octopus of some kind, in the lair. Squid. I love the idea of them corrupting a dolphin or a whale.
I don't think you need to corrupt a dolphin.
Well, I mean,
anybody who knows anything about dolphins knows they're the single shittiest creatures under the sea.
They're not nice, but they're extremely intelligent.
They're the only creatures other than humans that are known to kidnap and rape children. There's a video you can find on YouTube of a dolphin biting the body off a fish and then skull fucking its head.
Oh my god. That's nature. Nature is metal. I don't know if you're familiar with that subreddit / Instagram profile. Anyone and everyone who has the stomach should go look up "Nature is Metal," and it's that kind of shit all the time.
Not a Reddit guy,
it's
but
actually incredible. Yeah. But yeah, no, I by no means do I want to claim that a dolphin is a kind creature, but they are very intelligent, and that's what makes me love the idea of them being corrupted by one of these sea hags. That they could take something that is potentially more intelligent than themselves, but corrupt them through, I don't know if they would do it through a bargain. I don't know if they could bargain necessarily. They do speak Aquan, and I would imagine some, maybe to a certain circumstance.
They wouldn't have the intelligence to have a language.
Yeah, fair enough. But in any case, a graceful, for all intents and purposes, beautiful and intelligent creature under the sway of a very specifically evil creature.
I think that's pretty much the theme all throughout Hags.
Yeah,
they keep talking about corrupting paladins and religious folk.
Which is exactly why, if we move to Green Hag right now, which is exactly why I went for a giant pig in the exposition. Not
nature's most majestic being.
For all intents and purposes, a beautiful creature, but are very kind and intelligent. And cuddly little bastards, or big bastards, if you will. But I love that that it's just yet another target for them, and I love the idea of just this green witch riding around on this giant swine, and it's just covered in sores. And
I'd probably take it in the Baba Yaga direction, and instead of a mount, they just have a hut that walks around on 2 chicken legs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Are you not familiar with the Baba Yaga?
Not really, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so the main thing of a Baba Yaga is they've got a hut that walks around on 2 chicken legs.
That's super cool.
Yeah, they're insane.
I love that. It reminds me of the Studio Ghibli Howl's Moving Castle. The magic castle that walks around on its...
I'd be very surprised if it wasn't related in some shape or form.
Yeah, I'm surely influenced. Oh, hey, you're pulling up the picture now. That is so wicked. Everyone look up the Baba Yaga hut on Google. That's awesome.
It was a feature in the new Hellboy movie starring David Haber, Mila Jovovich.
I've not seen that. Was it good?
No, it was terrible. Don't see that.
That's a shame.
However, it is a feature in it.
I should have just let Ron Perlman do it again, goddammit.
I don't think it was the actors. I think David Haber was an amazing Hellboy.
Okay.
I think the movie was garbage around him.
Yeah.
It very clearly suffered a bunch of rewrites. This is not a Hellboy episode.
Let's not go down that road.
But if you're interested in it, there's a YouTube guy, Black Magic Craft, who actually made one out of styrofoam.
Oh, cool.
I'm having a hard time pulling up a picture of it, but yeah, it was really neat.
Actually, I think that's awesome. You would do it with the Green Hag specifically?
Yeah, I would do the Baba Yaga with the Green Hag.
Traveling home.
Yep.
Through her marshes on these big chicken leg things. Oh, that's so great.
The Baba Yaga also flies around in a mortar, wielding a pestle. So there's also that.
That's so good. Oh God, I never would have thought of that. That's killing me. That's way better than flying around in a cauldron. Yeah, I agree. That's amazing. Yeah. Mortar and pestle. Oh, fuck. This is killing me.
I gotta pee again.
Okay. All right. We had a quick pause there. Now I'm starting to laugh again. I was literally going to say, now that I've regained my composure. But I obviously have not. Mounts, Beagles, Minions, Pets for the Ennis Hag. It was very obvious when we covered it. Larger creatures, they are, what were they called? Tribe mothers.
Tribe mothers, yeah.
Where they, they'll rope in ogres and probably ettins as well. Definitely trolls.
Yeah. You know what? You take this one. What do you think for minions? I have some really good ideas, but I think I'm going to break you again.
Perfect. I can't wait. I'm feeling giddy tonight. I love the idea that they dominate these larger creatures that are probably larger and more powerful than themselves on a physical level. But I really love. I remember when we covered it that they would do it through physical abuse, but sometimes it was actually verbal abuse. They would just bully them. And I love the idea that they are more intelligent, if not extraordinarily intelligent creatures, more intelligent than these ones, and they know how to like hit those buttons and put them in their place and keep them in line. I do like the idea that maybe they would be able to do it, to a hill giant as well, and adding to that list. But I feel like it would almost always have to be some sort of creature that is just large, physically effective, but not smart, willing to submit to bullying.
So things in the giant category really fall under that.
Yeah, big time. I guess really maybe to a degree they would be able to maybe dominate like a tribe of orcs or something as well. Creatures that are really hyper aggressive.
Yeah,
I don't think too much about their
more
actions.
along the lines of trolls.
Yeah, trolls for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, trolls. Yeah. But I don't know. Beyond that, I don't think I thought about it too much. In the lore, there was definitely reference to like the cairnstones in their environments and the lairs, and how some of them might be haunted by wraiths or a banshee or a series of skeletons, something like that. But I feel like that's more their influence of presence rather than their direct influence of themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. So I've always thought of like the boulette as being a great creature to pair with one of these hags. They're fairly low CR, sitting at 5, and they're a mountainous creature.
They're mountainous, okay.
Yeah, with a burrow speed. Mm-hmm. So I think they could be a great one. But initially, I was thinking there's a passage in in Vola's Guide to Monsters where it talks about a hag manipulating a paladin to the point of humiliation. Mm-hmm. And the paladin's humiliation was that the hag rode it around on its shoulders.
I love that so much.
So I love the idea of this hag like bullying a venom troll into like riding her around on like piggyback on this venom troll.
Yeah.
But then I immediately was like, no, I don't think that's it. My Anis hag would ride around on an awakened shrub. Like,
oh yeah.
Just this fucking little cherry shrub running around with the hag just sitting on it. Just like a potted plant with legs.
Or like even just a couple of them, like where their heads form like some sort of cushy bush. Mm-hmm. And they all have to run in tandem while she just like straddles it in comfort. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So that's definitely how I would take it.
The visuals.
Yeah, and just a couple of large trolls fanning her as they walk.
Yeah. What about the Burr hag then? In the exposition, I very obviously made her accompanied with a yeti, or an abominable yeti in this case.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily want to specify that it was any sort of mount. Definitely a minion of some kind.
So the Burr hag's weird because she kind of comes in with a built-in mount. So the Grey Staff has the broom of flying. Mm-hmm. So I never really thought about her needing a mount because her magic weapon counts as a mount.
Sure, but minions are, and pets, that sort of thing.
So I really thought about the Burr hag in a different direction because there isn't a whole lot of snow-based creatures that I can think of. Mm-hmm. So I thought, what happens at the top of mountains? What do you get up there? You get a lot of howling winds. So I thought about stuff like a snow owl, like a wind elemental, like that kind of stuff. And I think I would take it in that direction.
Yeah, you have to be careful about not accidentally discounting those small creatures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a green hag would clearly take advantage of many of forest and swamp type creatures, like a frog, a toad, or a crow. Or
I would totally pair a green hag with a frog hemoth.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, 100%. So I like that. Like a snow owl would be great. Some sort of frost wolf, if you will.
Yeah, just a regular
dire wolf. No, it's a frost wolf.
Gotcha. So this is what he's talking about is a CR5 hellhound with its breath weapon reskinned to ice.
I think I just accidentally hit like a World of Warcraft chord in the back of my head there. The frost wolves.
A frost wolf.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love that.
In real life, it's called a timber wolf. Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe had one.
How about a fox or any series of Arctic, an earth sign like a polar bear,
absolutely.
Or even a lynx or a cougar.
They have all those
feline sort of creatures
that you can easily reskin in the back of the PHP there.
Yeah, a vulpine even like that. That would be super cool. Just for all intents and purposes, mundane animals that really know how to scavenge and survive in a harsh environment, but they are very much the minions of.
Or you could take a ghoul and give it a couple of barbarian traits and reskin it as like a frozen berserker.
Oh yeah, or a white.
Yeah. Or a revenant.
Yeah, I think of Skyrim almost right away, like with the Draugr in Skyrim. I don't know if you've played that game, but the Draugr, it's like very Norse themed sort of RPG. You know, the Elder Scrolls has a wide.
Yeah, I've played all of them but Skyrim.
Yeah, and so it's in Skyrim it's very Norse themed. It's very Nordic. They have jarls that govern the lands and that sort of thing, and you encounter a lot of Draugr, which are just very, very white. In my opinion, very white-based creatures.
Okay.
White's WIGHT, by the way, in case anyone's misinterpreting that.
I don't think they are.
White-based creatures.
I mean, we are talking about Norse mythology.
Yes, we are. Everything's white, including the lands. But yeah, I love that. Undead creatures. I'm out of control.
Oh,
I'm
man.
so overtired. This is ridiculous.
This is our second part of Night Hags. We had to break this up into 2 recordings, and it is getting very late at night.
Oh, it's getting late at night. We were both out for dinner and drinks the night before. I had to work first thing this morning and all day long and came straight here from there. It's just like...
I reorganized my desk like a grown-up.
Oh, man. Okay, well then Night Hags. Let's go Night Hags. Like, these creatures are fiends.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the lower planes, to be honest.
I don't even know if I would
creatures?
give them lower planes creatures.
Yeah, no, okay.
I probably the first thing that comes to mind are quicklings. They're like little little creatures from the Shadowfell who are like elven, like Christmas elf assassins.
Well, we've talked about them before. Like they fall right into that tiny phase.
Oh yeah, sorry, not quicklings, darklings.
Oh, darklings. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, from the
But
Shadowfell.
Still fall into the same sort of category of quicklings, pixies.
Yeah, exactly.
Sprites,
they are fae, but
caps,
they're from the Shadowfell. So I think it probably lean heavily on that. But I mean, imps are great. Imps are fucking great, and I don't think mephits get nearly enough play.
Yeah.
Especially for something like a CR7. Like mephits can speak. They're intelligent.
Oh yeah.
So I would just break the toy box open for Night Hags. You know, mephits, imps, shadows, animated armor, anything that doesn't have a body. I think because Night Hags speak real and corporeal to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd go ghosts so much, but definitely like I think a shadow would be a real cool one. Like that was the person's bargain is that they fell prey to the Night Hag and they became a living shadow under her control.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I feel like I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but if there are other creatures that have a similar influence on sleep and the ethereal plane and that sort of thing, that's what I would pair with them. Not necessarily as a mount or vehicle, but definitely as a minion. They would sort of be with their ability to cross over to the ethereal plane almost so freely and invade dreams as such. I feel like they would take advantage of
There's
other
got
creatures.
to be something.
There's got to be something. Off the top of my head, I couldn't name one though.
Yeah, I can't call one to mind either. I don't play a whole lot in the dream world, but there are definitely creatures who have like ethereal step and stuff.
Listeners, write us in to give us some ideas of what
Gently.
gently. Be kind, and rewind.
What a terrible movie.
Now, how about now? This one's less specific. I think running down the list of hags. What about weird magic? What sort of weird magic ideas would what we discussed it last time. You thought it almost always and entirely, was reflected in a sort of charm element, is what you had said.
Yeah, either that or it's like a big ritualistic magic, like to bring somebody back from the dead to, I don't know, maybe cast a wish or something like that. Like there's weird magic is essentially anytime they really manipulate magic. Mm-hmm. So putting it into play for unprescribed uses is really what it seems to be. And there's no limits in the DMG to this really, except for your imagination. Mm-hmm. So I would probably use weird magic as exclusively like a summoner's charm. Like bring something to them that they want. It doesn't have to be a creature. It could be an item from the PCs, or better yet, they use weird magic to get an item that they're going to give the PCs, or just sell to the blacksmith and manipulate the blacksmith into selling to the PCs. And it's this cursed axe or hammer or something like that one of the PCs picks up, and every time they don't strike with it, they lose a hit die or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, weird magic, when I was reading about it, I took to it. I thought, I loved the idea that it was so, you really had, like, if you could embrace your macabre imagination, you could create just any sort of brutal object and then just give it whatever effect you want. And the exposition, I describe, I believe it's, still within the sea hag, green hag part, where the green hag procures a human heart that is pierced with an insurmountable amount of? That's not right. Extremely large amount of porcupine needles stabbed through it. Just
quills, I believe.
Quills. Those are the ones. And I don't know why that came to mind. I don't know why I pictured that. Maybe it's actually in Volo's guide somewhere that it influenced me.
But what does it do?
Well, in that moment, what it does is she throws it into the cauldron that's already in that setting, in that room of the description, and she goes up in a cloud of smoke along with Twiggy and the giant pig.
So it's Dimension Door?
Yes, I didn't.
Or would you not like pack it down into that box?
Yeah, that's what I love about weird magic, is it's specifically supposed to be a once use, extremely out of the norm. Only the hag can do it. It's almost impossible to reproduce. They go way out of their way to find a way to do this one trick.
Yeah, I like that. But in the DMG, every example they list, they give, or not DMG, in Volas, every example they give, they link it to a spell or something that's already in the box.
But
would you just let that go?
I decided to not. Yeah, okay. I really went left field with it, and I thought, this to me is a really great, if arguably unfair moment where you just forgo mechanics and you say, nope, you don't get the chance to take down this green hag as well as the sea hags. Maybe that party is just fighting these two sea hags in a coven, even though they don't know it, might have really worn them down. But I love the idea that it's just like this moment where everything is revealed. They have victory, and then Auntie Mudgums pops up and she's just like, nope, pulls this thing out, throws it in, has a cackle or something, and gone. And then that's when the PCs go, shit, this is not over, And that's how I wanted to use weird magic. Okay. And through the exposition as well, I re-employ it. I think I mentioned it before. And it's very much in the background of the exposition, but the Night Hags that they are slowly moving towards through the whole story have been employing their own weird magic that utilizes the lair actions of other hags. Where it's actually a spoiler alert. it's a total spoiler alert right now, because at the end of this episode, it's going to pop up. But I guess that's hopefully make it a little more clear when you hear my narration of it. But that was sort of the purpose. Like they actually use pieces or parts or items that are related to other types of hags to recreate lair actions, and it's referenced in narrative that I've that we recorded previous to this episode, and we'll repeat again at the end of this episode. And that was like a really cool. I thought it was a really cool way of approaching it. It's something I really, really enjoyed. It was like, how can I make a night hag do what a green hag can do in her lair?
Yeah, No, I like that. I think that's a great use. I think throwing the rule book out sometimes is the right way to go. And as dungeon masters, the situations that we're presented with every minute of every game is that, well, I'm not prepared for this, so fuck it. This is what's happening. And weird magic is a great way to explain and exploit that.
Yeah. And when I was doing the research, and we were both doing the research, we both, established and discussed on these episodes that the lair actions were lacking almost entirely. And
I still don't have anything to put that against. I haven't really gone into like the mummy's lair action or the dragons, but it's got to be better than this.
They didn't feel substantial.
No.
but it did kind of make it more fun for myself when I was like, how can I make the lair action of one hag work for another? And it just got my sort of juices, my creative juices, sort of boiling up, if you will.
I like that. I think that's great. I personally flock more to like charms, and here are one-off casts of spells. Mm-hmm. So like mirror image or misty step or something like that. I like playing a tactical game, so stuff like that really factors into the way I play combats. Mm-hmm. So I'm constantly trying to get the upper hand. I don't know if we've mentioned it on here before, but I have a party of 3 fighters and a cleric. So every one of them can stand and bang, and it's very challenging to come up with challenging encounters for them. Mm-hmm. Not that every encounter has to be challenging, but every encounter should at least be fun for everybody.
The last time we played, I just dove straight into that combat, and I was desperately trying to find, on my side, I think I was trying to find that moment where I could really utilize the skills that I have, but I couldn't. But what I really did was took a boatload of damage.
Yeah, you took a beating.
I took a beating. But I was still okay. I was still absolutely okay.
Yeah, everybody in that combat too. Oh, I guess I have 3 fighters, a cleric, and a sorcerer.
Yeah, you do have that. Sorcerer.
Lee Sorcerer saved the day more times than I can count at this point.
Ridiculous. He's killing it.
He just waits till the last 2 rounds of combat and just comes in and murders everything.
Wrecks the place.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
All right, well, how about treasures? What sort of treasures do you imagine?
I don't think hags have treasures.
Okay.
I think they have things that could be treasures with something like a remove curse spell, but I cannot for the life of me think of a hag who's this selfish and this manipulative who would have something amazing and shiny like a +2 great axe and not bestow a curse on it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more.
The head is just too heavy. I did love the idea that in Volo's guide, I think it's described where they have this sort of disorganized mess and method to their madness where you'll walk into their lair and it's just littered with loads of stuff. Yeah.
But the hag is the only creature that knows exactly where the important items are in these crazy piles of nonsense. But what are those important items exactly? Why on earth do they have them? I guess, to a degree, they might use something that gives them the ability to scry or detect magic or something like that if they don't already have that innate ability. But, you're looking at an Annis hag who already has these iron tokens. You're a Night Hag who has the soul bag and the heartstone and the ability to invade people's dreams. To me, the heartstone is the real treasure. That's the one.
For sure,
when we discuss that, just touching it will cure a disease.
Yeah, because their desire isn't to become rich and famous. It's not to acquire wealth. Yeah. It's to hurt people.
Yeah.
And the best way to hurt people is to find something people want and to taint it.
Yeah. Now, that's also such a great hook, right? Because what I think the reason there probably is a section dedicated, if not a large section dedicated to hags in regards to treasure, you really do want to reward your players.
Absolutely.
But the beauty of hags is that even after their death, there's some sort of downside to whatever bargain.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of great cursed items out there, and I think this is the perfect place to utilize them. I don't think cursed items are used enough.
Yeah,
I don't hear a lot about it. I just backed a book on Kickstarter. That's a bunch of cursed items. I've got a couple cursed items in a deck that I have in the drawer, and I have a couple of PDFs. And there's a very small section in the DMG, but I think this is the place. This is just hurt your players through this. All of the rewards, and then once they attune, not so much. Okay. I think that's going to do it for us this week. If you like what you heard, you can feel free to throw us some shekels at patreon.com/encounterthispod. If you've got any long-form stories you want to throw our way, feel free to email us at info@encounterthis.ca. And if you've got any short-form stories or you want to tweet at us, you can get at us at encounterpod. If you want to see any of the shitty minis that I painted, you can find me at Cobra Viper J. And Freeman doesn't have a Twitter, but he will happily answer all of your emails that are addressed to him or no one in particular.
Done. Easy.
Yeah.
I'll even pretend not to be me if that's what you require.
So thank you for listening this week. Next week, 2 weeks from now, sometime mid-February, we're going to be dropping our next episode, which will return to the regular format, which is Rakshasas.
Rakshasas, yeah.
Rakshasas,
yeah. We had a hard time with that one for a while. I think we've nailed that.
Yeah.
I think it was Rakshasa.
Rakshasa.
No, Rakshasa,
yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to doing that one for sure. And back to the regular format. This has been quite the
it's
project.
been quite the project, but it's been fun. I'm really glad we did this and we learned that we can do it, and maybe we'll do it again in the future. We're toying around with the idea of doing Fapril and Orktober. So hit us up. hit us up on Twitter if you like the sounds of either of those.
Yeah.
So we'll let you get back to it, I guess.
Thanks, creatures. And from there, we're going to shift it over to James with the real-life hag lore.
No, we are not.
Right now. Do it. Just make it up on the spot.
Hags.
Tastic.
Darkness. But not complete. Everything is black and, for all intents, purposes, and especially senses, gone. All excepting less than a handful of things. For one, you can see yourself. Well, your own arms and legs and such from your own point of view. For two, you can see your companions. And for three, you see three identical creatures of purest evil standing before you. Otherwise, it's as if you're standing in a room stained with the blackest inks and dyes so as to absorb all natural light. Nothing makes sense about it, but the stark contrast of nothingness backdropping these ugly demons makes every detail that much more abhorrently impossible to not see. Their skin, wrinkled and furrowed into every shade of sickly purple. Their long, matted hair tied back in clumpy messes. Befouled robes, of which it is impossible to tell the original color. It is also nearly impossible to tell these creatures apart, but one of this trio does stand out. She's holding in one hand a black stone that lets off the occasional glint of a crimson hue. In the other, a black sack with some sort of design that's hard to make out.
What face is that upon the sack?
You all start at Sir Dudley's sudden words. You've reason to be jumpy around him, though he has proved himself again to be a reliable comrade since his unhinging, shall we call it. Posey, you move forward the smallest bit and peer at the bag as best you can. Indeed, the design is not a design at all, but the flayed and stretched face of a man. And you recognize it. It's Reginald Craycatcher. This is where it dawns on you that even more is amiss. Though this set of wicked sisters is not entirely motionless, they remain standing still as if wholly unperturbed. For now, at least, you have a moment. You're not sure why, but you suspect the puzzle you solved earlier had some sort of effect after all. What do you want to do?
Badger will roll an Arcana check to try and understand the black bag and the black gem.
All right, roll him up. But as you do, two of the hags suddenly go to move. One pulls out a burr's grey staff. At one time broken, it is mended with what appears to be a yeti's hide. She snaps it in half again. The other draws a jar with the head of a green hag inside and pries the lid off. Loud screams spew from the opening. She spills its rotten contents on the floor and smashes the jar. A blizzard quickly forms around you, and just as it starts to completely obscure your vision, you see quadruplets where triplets once stood. Despite all of this, it's a surprise round. Roll for initiative.